Welcome to the Dub Dive. Today we're embarking on a really fascinating journey into a listener's personal story. It's a unique case study, really, weaving together faith, family, and this profound concept of karma. Our sources for this deep dive, they come from a rich audio narrative. It details a series of life events and then seeks spiritual explanations for them. It offers insights, connecting daily experiences to much larger patterns. So, our mission today is to unpack this compelling narrative. We'll highlight the surprising facts and the core teachings that emerge. Get ready to explore how past actions, maybe even subtle habits, can shape present circumstances in ways you might not expect. Okay, so our listener, they're a native of Bangkok, and they start their story with this interesting neutrality. Despite hearing negative rumors about a specific Buddhist temple, Wat Phra Dhammakaya, they didn't really feel negative or positive about it, almost like a blank slate, you could say. The first, maybe subtle nudge came late in 91. There was this giant billboard for the Mahanikaya Satya that's a large stupa or shrine. And it sparked this quiet thought, just, I must find an opportunity to see this in person. But you know how life is, things get in the way. It actually took 4 years until 1995 for their first actual visit to the temple. And what did they find when they finally went? Well, it was surprisingly clean, incredibly orderly, a simple chapel. It completely dispelled those rumors they'd heard about hidden weapons and things like that. But here's where it gets really compelling. While at the temple, they saw a statue of Luang Pusod, who's a highly revered meditation master. And instantly, they recognized him
Yeah.
from a dream they'd had. A dream that honestly, until that exact moment, they hadn't understood at all.
What's fascinating there is how an open mind, maybe coupled with that almost subconscious pre-recognition,
Yeah.
could be the initial thread.
Yeah.
The thing that draws someone towards a path. Even when there's widespread skepticism or rumors flying around, it really speaks to a deeper resonance, something beyond just conscious thought.
Right. So after that pretty powerful first visit, years actually passed without another one. What finally brought our listener back then, it was the persistent invitation of a friend. Now, our listener initially declined going to a large event, this Ubasaki coordination. That's a ceremony for female lay practitioners. And apparently hundreds of thousands attended. The listener just didn't like crowds. Simple as that. Yet their friend came back just deeply impressed, talked about the perfect order, the immense scale, and interestingly, even a small act from our listener, just rejoicing in merit, basically appreciating the friend's good experience, that yielded a small personal blessing for them. So that subtle connection deepened when the same friend invited our listener to meditation centers, ones closer to their home. And this was a real turning point because the listener genuinely enjoyed meditation and started learning more about Luang Kusad. This deeper engagement then led to a significant return to the main temple. First on Saturday, September 5th, 2008, for Dhamma Teachers Day, a day for spiritual instructors. And then the very next day, Sunday, September 6th, 2008, that's when the listener experienced this truly pivotal event, what's known as the miracle of the crystal sun.
Yeah.
Try to picture this. Tens of thousands of people all meditating together in perfect, serene order. Suddenly there's this collective sound rippling through the crowd, a stir. People start pointing upwards, some even have tears in their eyes. And Luang Pordata Shivo, a senior monk who was seated right beside the great teacher of the temple, he also turned and pointed.
And what's remarkable, really, about this widely witnessed profound experience is that the great teacher himself, the main figure there, he was the only one who didn't actually see the crystal sun, visually anyway. He reported feeling the stupa tilt slightly, a physical sensation like the whole world was shifting under him. He only heard about the visual part later from Luang Pordatajivo's astonished description, describing the sun spinning, becoming like a crystal sphere, with Luang Pusod appearing right at its center, radiating light so intensely it seemed to dwarf the actual sun, and the sky changing colors blue, then pink, then gold. It's such a powerful illustration of how these profound experiences can manifest differently, even for the people right at the center of it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And despite his own non-vision, this event just catapulted the great teacher into global fame for about a year and a half, which was apparently quite against his personal desire for a quiet life. Media everywhere, radio, TV, newspapers, they all reported extensively on it. But this fame, as it often does, brought accusations with it, suggestions that he'd somehow hypnotized tens of thousands of people simultaneously. Or that lasers were used, which seems unlikely given the stupa was unfinished and, well, they lacked funding for that kind of tech. There were also accusations about illicitly building Buddha images, even though the source says he used his personal funds for the construction.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, it really illustrates how these kinds of extraordinary events can polarize perceptions, can't they?
Mm.
Leading to both profound belief on one side and really fervent accusations on the other. Even when, some factual evidence might contradict the slander, it just shows the power of narrative, sometimes regardless of the facts on the ground.
Hmm. But for our listener, the miracle of the crystal sun was deeply personal. It provided profound answers for them, it strengthened their faith immensely, and it led to this meditation experience so profound where they actually saw a golden Luangku within themselves. This personal vision then inspired them to create golden Buddha core statues, one for their mother and one for their father, as a huge act of merit. Okay, so the story then delves even deeper into the listener's family, and this reveals some fascinating layers of, well, karmic connections. Let's start with their father. He was a proud barber, loved his craft, and also loved his sport motorcycle. Back in 2003, this passion led to a really severe motorcycle accident. There was a collision between two pickup trucks, and one of them veered right into his motorcycle. The bike fell on him. It resulted in a triple fracture in his right leg, plus extensive bruising on his left. He ended up spending over 70 days in the hospital. And despite his family pleading with him, he refused to give up his beloved profession afterwards. Then, just 2 years later, 2005, his health took a sharp decline. It was compounded by diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, a lot going on. He ended up in the ICU, intubated, so unable to speak. Our listener offered him comfort, telling him to think of Luang Pu, to silently chant Sama Arahang, which is a traditional Buddhist chant. They also promised to donate money for a Sai Wihan, that's a pillar for a great hall at the temple in his name, and the father, he nodded, he affirmed it.
Hmm. But a really key takeaway here is what the source tells us the father wanted to express in those final moments. He apparently yearned to say, "It hurts, it hurts, it hurts," so much torment. So this illustrates that while, yes, he acknowledged the merit being made, his immediate experience of suffering, linked to his past karma, presumably, was still immense. It highlights how, in this tradition, even with last-minute positive intent, the force of past negative karma can still be powerfully felt right then and there.
Wow. So, considering all of that, the suffering but also the affirmation, where did the father go after passing? What does the source say?
Well, the source indicates he lingered with the family for 7 days, which is a common belief in this tradition. And then he was reborn as an akatefo. That's a type of celestial being. They dwell in the atmosphere. And apparently he manifested with a golden mansion. So quite an auspicious rebirth. This was primarily attributed to the merit accumulated right at the end through his affirmation, combined with his traditional good deeds throughout his life. He's described as being happy now and thankful. And the source adds he desires more merit, which sort of underscores the ongoing nature of spiritual aspiration, even in higher realms. It really shows the potential impact of even last-minute positive intent in merit-making. How our spiritual actions, whenever they occur, can powerfully shape what comes next.
Okay, let's turn to the listener's mother now. She also faced a significant long-term challenge, a spine injury. This happened from a collision with a 10-wheeler truck way back when our listener was only 7 years old.
Right, and this leads us to consider the karmic roots, at least as explained in the source material. Apparently, in a past life, the mother had struck a dog's back with a stick, hard enough to break its back. This was after the dog had eaten some dried meat she'd left out. So in this spiritual framework, specific negative actions, particularly those causing physical harm, are believed to manifest as corresponding physical ailments later on. This specific act, breaking the dog's back, is seen as the direct karmic cause that manifested in her own spine injury in this life. It's a case that really underscores the sort of precise and often unexpected ways that even seemingly, well, perhaps not minor, but specific negative actions can manifest physically down the line. Highlights the importance of compassionate action.
And surprisingly, we see similar kinds of karmic threads extending to the listener's eldest brother. He has had an intellectual disability since birth, and this is specifically linked in the narrative to the mother contracting mumps during that particular pregnancy.
Yes, and from the source's perspective, this illuminates a kind of dual karmic effect working together. The mother's mumps, it says, were a result of her own past verbal karma specifically, from mocking others and using harsh words. In this tradition, negative speech isn't just mental, it's believed it can manifest physically too. But the brother's intellectual disability itself was seen as residual karma from his own past actions, specifically past alcohol consumption and also uttering abusive words while intoxicated. So the idea is that actions clouding the mind, like excessive alcohol, abusive speech, can leave these long-lasting karmic imprints on one's mental clarity in future lives. So these two karmas, the mothers from speech, the brothers from alcohol and speech, they kind of collectively influence their intertwined lives here,
Shows a real complex interplay of individual and perhaps shared karma within a family unit.
Hmm. Moving on to another significant person, the grandmother. Her story highlights a complex relationship dynamic. She was hardworking, apparently very caring towards her own mother, yet she often verbally abused our listener's mother, and the listener too, and she eventually passed away from heart disease.
Okay, so this brings up the point that, according to the source, her heart disease stemmed from a combination of factors. One was a karma of killing animals for food. But this was combined with her past and present verbal karma, the habit of hurting others' feelings, discouraging them. And despite some traditional merits she might have accumulated, this verbal karma was seen as extremely potent. The source actually states it caused her to be reborn as a Fromatheva yak, which translates roughly to a Brahma-like giant, but with fangs. Essentially a powerful but still suffering being in a lower celestial realm. It's a case that really underscores how potent, and sometimes unexpected, the results of negative actions can be, especially verbal ones. It highlights the crucial importance of mindful speech and the potential for verbal karma to sometimes even outweigh other merits accumulated.
Okay, let's shift focus now and unpack this for the listener's own professional life. They hold a government job, low salary. Their work gets recognized, but frustratingly, others seem to get the rewards and the promotions.
Right, and what's fascinating here is the source's explanation. It indicates, first, that the listener isn't quite performing at the level their superiors desire, well, yet. And also that their past dana merit that's giving, generosity, was maybe at a certain limited level. But a really significant, deeply ingrained factor identified is a core habit, being slow to make merit, or maybe delaying good deeds, procrastinating on them. And this slowness, according to the source, impacts pretty much everything in their life. Their wealth, their promotions, even remember their initial journey to the temple took years. It's quite a powerful insight, isn't it? How seemingly small habits like this tendency towards slowness and doing good can have these cascading effects across all areas of life, not just the obviously spiritual ones.
Yeah, that's really something. So, considering this pervasive slowness, what's the advice? How does the source suggest our listener, and maybe all of us, can actively shift that ingrained habit, to achieve greater success and happiness?
Well, to address this directly, the advice is for the listener to actively practice something called Sankahathu 4. These are basically 4 principles: generous giving, kind speech, helping others consistently, and acting appropriately in situations. The source also really emphasizes that they should strive to work harder in their job, naturally, and also consistently accumulate abundant merit in all forms: giving, precepts, meditation. The correlation presented in the source is very direct and clear. Greater, more consistent merit leads directly to more happiness and success. So it provides a clear, actionable pathway drawn straight from the source material for anyone looking to perhaps improve their circumstances by addressing this kind of inner slowness.
Okay. Now, our listener also has this really unique and frankly very positive characteristic, a notable lack of prejudice against the temple, even when hearing negative rumors, and just a strong tendency not to believe slander easily. What's more, the source notes that when they are slandered, someone always seems to come to their aid. That's quite specific.
Yes, and that trait, according to the source, comes from having faith combined with wisdom,
Mm.
and possessing a mind that isn't easily swayed by external negativity or gossip. The consistent help they receive when they are slandered, that's attributed directly to accumulated merit from past lives, specifically from having been, in past lives, a lawyer for the sasana, which essentially means a defender of the Buddhist religion, someone who upheld truth and countered false accusations against it. It's a wonderful example, really, of how past actions supporting truth and justice can apparently create a kind of protective karmic shield in the present.
That is fascinating. And then there's that intriguing fact we mentioned earlier, the listener dreaming of Luang Pu Sod before ever seeing his image at the temple.
Right. And the source interprets this as revealing a deep karmic connection, a profound bond with Luang Pu Sod that stretches back over many, many past lives. It highlights how these spiritual connections can sometimes transcend time, maybe even conscious awareness, manifesting in these really surprising ways like dreams.
And finally, let's touch on the critical role of friends in the listener's spiritual journey. There was the one who persistently invited them to the meditation center, which led to their big return to the temple. And then another friend who eventually installed the Dhammakaya satellite dish for them, linking them more directly to the teachings.
Exactly. And these individuals weren't just casual acquaintances, according to the source. They are identified as Kalyanamit Sahaitham. That translates to spiritual friends, true companions, who have supported each other in making merit for, it says, countless lifetimes. The advice given for them as a group is to continue making full merit together, and to aspire together to be reborn in Dusit Buri, which is a specific high celestial realm, often associated with future Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, those enlightened beings who choose to delay their own final nirvana to help others reach enlightenment first. It really emphasizes the profound importance placed on spiritual companionship, on having good friends on the path.
Wow. This deep dive into just one listener story has really unveiled how deeply interwoven our lives can be, hasn't it? With these subtle threads of karma, intention, even our most unconscious habits, from dreams to unexpected encounters, family ailments, career paths, it suggests every detail holds a deeper meaning.
It certainly does. And it raises an important question, maybe, for you listening. How might your own seemingly small decisions, your predispositions perhaps, to act quickly or to delay, or even your core beliefs, how might they be shaping the intricate tapestry of your own past, present, and future, perhaps in ways you're only just beginning to perceive?
Something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep an eye out for those surprising connections in your own life.